Hi there. In this video, we will see how you can use Authorizer with Hasura to provide authentication and authorization in your application. Hasura gives you instant GraphQL API or REST API on top of your databases like Postgres, MySQL, and more. It takes away the pain of writing basic CRUD APIs and also gives you column and row level authorization layer using JWT tokens. Technically, we will use authorizer to authenticate user, and the JWT token that we get using authorizer, we will use that with Hasura to make the authorized API calls. Let's have a quick look on how we can achieve this. For that, I will need an Hasura instance. So I will deploy a Hasura instance on Heroku. So let's name this as authorizer Hasura demo. This will install a Hasura instance with a Postgres database. Once the Hasura application is deployed, we can go to Manage App, go to Settings, and reveal the config variables. Use this Postgres URL with our authorizer instance. For that, I will go to authorizer docs, and let's also deploy an authorizer instance on Heroku. Here our database type will become Postgres and database URL will be the one that we copied from the Hasura instance that we just deployed. Let's deploy our authorizer instance now. Once our authorizer instance is deployed, we can again go to Manage App over here, go to the settings, and you can see some configuration variables. We will need this JWT secret from our authorizer instance, and we'll have to configure this in Hasura instance so that Hasura can verify the JWT tokens that we share. So let's copy this JWT secret and make sure that you also know what type of JWT you are using. For now, we are using HS256. So let's go to the Hasura docs and check the authentication using JWT. So you will see that JWT expects X Hasura default role, allowed roles, and whatever fields that you want to add inside your JWT. This is the sample JWT that they have given. So we will see how we can modify our JWT tokens in Authorizer. But first, let's see how we can configure this JWT token. So for that, we will need to use Hasura GraphQL JWT secret with type and a key. So here I will add Hasura GraphQL JWT secret environment variable. It's kind of JSON, so type is HS256. This is the encryption type for JWT token, and key is the key that we have over here. Let's also configure the Hasura admin secret over here. So Hasura GraphQL admin secret. You can give any secret or any possible password over here. For test, I'll just use admin. Alright, now that our environment variables are configured, let's try to open this app. So it will ask me for admin secret, so I'll use admin over here. So if you go to data section and public schema, you will see that we have this three tables called authorizer session, authorizer user, and authorizer verification request. These are the tables created by authorizer instance. We can track them all so that we get a CRUD API on top of them. And there are also some relationships we have over here, so let's also track them. Alright, now that our Hasura configuration is done, let's see how we can modify our JWT tokens in authorizer instance. For that, let's go to the authorizer docs. In the environment variable section, you will see we have an environment variable called custom access token script. This allows us to write a small JavaScript function which can return the token payload. So here is a sample script. Let's open that. Let's copy this environment variable name and add it in our authorizer instance environment. I will also copy the sample function provided over here. So we store this in one data variable and we can add whatever extra token payload that we want to add, and we can just return this data. So in case of Hasura, the extra tokens that we need are supposed to be added within this Hasura JWT claims. So let's add them over there. So allowed roles and the default roles are the required JWT tokens, and we will also add user ID. We can get user ID from user.id. We can get default role from current token payload dot allowed roles of 0, because authorizer JWT token consists of multiple roles. So we will use the first role available out there, but you can modify this script based on your needs. And here we can say user.roles. So that completes our access token script. Let's add this environment variable. We will see this in just a moment. So let's just go to the app URL. Now if I go to app, I can sign up over here. So let me just sign up. Okay, now that I have signed up successfully, what I can do is I can copy the JWT token that are sent in the request. So they are sent as a cookie. I can copy this cookie value and let's see what this cookie contains. So we'll go to jwt.io, paste this JWT token over here, and as you can see, this contains the data that we needed. It has the Hasura claims as well. So now we can authorize our user while accessing the Hasura APIs directly. That's awesome. So let's go back to Hasura app and let's create a table over here called Todo. We will add a frequently used column called ID, user ID. Let's keep it text, a name of Todo. This will be again of type text and is done. This will be of type boolean. Let's add a foreign key over here. So authorizer user ID equals to ID. Will cascade in case of update and delete. So a to-do table is created. Now if we add some data, so I'll copy this user ID and let's try to add some data over here. Bring milk is done false. Create Hasura demo. And also let's add one more user so that we can understand whether it actually does the authorization or not. So I'll just log out from here. Let me sign up with a new email address, lakhan@gmail.com. Alright, so I have signed up with this new email address now. And let's get the user ID for this. And I'll add a to-do learn authorizer. Awesome. So now let's define permission over here. So in case the role is user, what all fields do we want to allow them to select? So we'll use custom checks, and user ID should be equal to x Hasura user ID. So x Hasura user ID is something that we have added in our JWT claim. Using that, Hasura will be able to authorize a user and allow them to access this field. Alright, so step one is to access this to-do table. So to-do ID name user ID. So as you can see right now, I'm able to access all the to-dos of all the users, but this is because I am using x Hasura admin secret as the HTTP header. Instead of this, now if I use the JWT token that we have as the authorization header with a bearer token and remove this x Hasura admin secret from the header part, let's run this query again. So as you can see, now it will only allow me to access the to-dos that are particular to this user. So that's great. You can also do one more thing over here, that is stitch your authorizer schema with Hasura. So if you go to remote schemas, let's add a remote schema called authorizer. And for that, you can use this particular URL with GraphQL endpoint and forward all the headers, and let's add this remote schema. Now if you check the APIs or mutations, you will also get the mutations from our authorizer API. So once you have stitched your remote schema like authorizer with your Hasura, you can use this Hasura endpoint as the single source of truth for all your API needs in your application. So that's all for the Hasura and authorizer demo. I hope you enjoyed this. Let us know if you have any issues integrating authorizer with your Hasura or in any other application. You can use our Discord channel or GitHub issues to raise any issues that you have. Thank you.